Kendogi is generally made of indigo-dyed cotton, but there are some which are not dyed called kinari, some which are bleached white, and other in which artificial dyes are used. There is also considerable variety in the stitching. Elementary school would typically use hachibuzashi or musashizashi. Junior high school, hitoe no souzashi. And from high school or university onwards, futae no souzashi. Whilst for experts, hantezashi or sotezashi is probably more suitable. The sleeve should be long enough not to show the elbows when the elbows are bent. Sleeves which are too short leave the arms and elbows prone to injury, whilst kendogi which are too long can get caught on the kote, gloves, and cause difficulties in maneuvering. Although we see instances where a schoolchild would buy an oversized kendogi and hem up the shoulders whilst growing into it. Ultimately, this hinders movement and, ideally, a perfectly fitting kendogi should be worn at every juncture. Thin people are more prone to the collar becoming loose, hence could adjust the position of the front strings, and women who are concerned with the front part opening might consider the use of snap buttons or Velcro. As the indigo might come off in a washing machine, it is highly recommended that the kendogi be turned inside out and washed by hand under cold water. Dry the kendogi, again inside out, in a well-ventilated and shady area. It is recommended that lengthwise, the hakama reaches the bottom of the ankle when worn around the waist. If too short, it is unsightly, and if it is too long dragging on the floor, there is a danger of a falling injury. Hakamas are made of either tetron or cotton. For children, the thinner linen of the cotton hakama is more prone to the pleats coming out, and so tetron, in which the pleats are more durable, is more expensive. However, as there are more high-quality cotton hakamas available as you gain expertise, the cotton variety becomes increasingly more expensive. The hakama is generally dyed navy blue, but as with the kendogi, there are non-dyed and white varieties. Nowadays, there are colored hakamas on the market, but they are rarely worn in competition. The hakama used in kendo is called the male hakama, which has a backstay. It is used by women as well as men. There are 5 pleats at the front and 1 at the back. Many theories exist as to what these pleats mean, but the most popular is that the front pleats represent benevolence, honor, etiquette, wisdom, sincerity, and the back pleat, united resolve and sincerity. In any case, it is important that the pleats are worn smartly. As a rule, therefore, the hakama should always be folded neatly after use. When washing the hakama, it should be rinsed with water while it's still folded and scrubbed but not wrung out. To dry, it should be hung in a well-ventilated and shady area, whilst making sure that the pleats stay in a good arrangement. Hakamas made of tetron will not shrink after washing, but those made of cotton may do so. Some are designed not to shrink, but it is recommended to discuss this with a shopkeeper when buying the hakama. Since the men mask is worn with the face stuck firmly on the inside surface, it is necessary to choose one which fits perfectly. Thus, it is important to have your size measured at the equipment shop at the time of purchase. The men no yokogane, horizontal grill, is slightly widened in the area of the eyes, called monomi. When the men is worn firmly, it is necessary to check that you can see clearly ahead through the monomi. Although many people recently seem to prefer a long men buton, mask blanket, it is not easy to use if too long, and if too short, there is a danger of being hit in the shoulder. It is recommended that the length from the tomekawa to the tip of the men buton is such that it goes just past the shoulder. There are 2 ways to fasten the mask string, fastening the chikawa either to the top, men no tategane, vertical grill, or to the fourth from bottom. Generally, the second method is used. For children's men, the third grill from bottom would be used. As for maintenance, the inside of the men should be wiped immediately after use with a dry cloth or tightly wrung hand towel and hung to dry in the shades. Many people use disinfectant spray in addition to drying, as the men is prone to bad odors if bacteria are allowed to spread due to sweat and other waste materials. The kote varies considerably in price depending on the material, whether there is a step-like namako part and the attachment method of the tsutsu part. Glove sizes vary with the size of the palm, and there are designs for women which have a short tsutsu part, so it is necessary to try on variety and find the right fit. Of all kendo equipment, the kote is one which degrades the fastest. If it is used when wet, it may cause pain and bacteria will spread easily, so they must be used only when dry. For junior high and high school clubs, for instance, where training may occur every day, it is necessary to find an efficient drying method or have two pairs, using each alternately. If the string of the tsutsu is fastened too tightly, the air cushion between the tsutsu and the arm disappears and being hit will be painful, so it is necessary to find the right tightness. The tare varies in price according to the fixing mechanism and decorative string, but it seems there is little variation in function. If a hard abdominal belt is used, then it is difficult to fasten it properly, so it is recommended that children use a softer one. In addition, the wakihimo armpit string is better fastened tightly if it remains flat, so it must be neatly folded after use. The do varies in price according to the material used for the do-dai breastplate and the decoration of the do-mune. In general, it is common to use a do with bamboo-fastened cowhide and a lacquer or artificial dye finish. But for children or in cheaper adult products, artificial resin and fiber variants are also found. The shinai is made either from bamboo or artificial resin. The resin one is significantly more durable, but quite expensive. People who practice a lot damage their shinai, so should consider different sword types according to the nature of the practice. The shinai and its accessories are prone to degradation. If damaged, this could lead to all kinds of accidents, so its condition must be checked at the beginning and the end of every practice. Loosening of the tsuru, holes in the sakigawa, loosening of the nakayui, and splinters and crack in the bamboo are all very dangerous. The nakayui should be fastened a quarter of the way down from the very top of the sword. The sword area of the extending from the nakayui onwards is called the monouchi or monouchibu. The guard should be fastened to the tsuka handle using a tsubadome. If the tsuba does not fit into the tsukagawa, the shinai is thought unmaintained and cannot be used in competition. When bokuto is used in Japanese kendo style, Nihon kendo gata, it is used as practice swords and for understanding how to use the sword. The price varies with material, but for kendo, red or white oak is most suitable. For elementary school students, a tachi, long sword, is adequate, but from junior high school students onwards, a kodachi, short sword, should also be acquired for further learning. Wearing the kendogi and hakama correctly is the first step to put on kendo equipment properly. If the kendogi or hakama comes undone, the rest of the equipment cannot be put on properly. The correct method of putting on the kendogi should always be observed, and not just at inspections, but also at usual practices. The screen displays dress with underclothes and a belt. The underclothes are well suited to remove sweat and dry quickly when washed, so they are very useful for maintaining hygiene. They also reduce stains to the kendogi. The shitaobi, lower belt, is useful for maintaining the shape of the kendogi, but also tightly grips the waist so that the abdominal region is strong and well supported, making it easier to maintain posture. Put your arm through the left sleeve first when putting on the kendogi and take it off from the right side. After putting on the sleeves, fasten the chest string, straighten the collar, and lightly pull down the tails and make sure there are no creases on the back. The hakama is worn with the backstay at the back. First, hold the front belt with both hands and insert the left leg, then right leg. The belt should be placed just above the hip bone taken around to the back, crossed and tightened, then exchange hands to bring it back to the front. Cross it over at the left hip. Exchange hands and take it around to the back again. Then tie it in a ribbon. Next, lift the backstay from the sasahida to the nage. Insert the plastic spatula into the front belt. Bring the back belt forward while sticking the backstay firmly to the bottom of the spine. The back belt should be crossed halfway with the left string on the top, and the left side of the belt tucked under the front belt and fastened, with any protruding remain sandwiched into the belt or either side of the waist. The hakama should be worn so that, seen from the side, the front is lower than the back. When taking it off, start from the right foot. Tare and do are put on wheels sitting formally. There are 5 tare in total, 3 large and 2 small, and the large one should be at the front. It is worn with the front facing forward. If the tare is new, it is easier to put on by folding back to the abdominal belt, as shown on the screen. Fasten the abdominal belt at the bottom of the stomach with the armpit belt swung around to the back, and so that the backstay of the hakama comes out above the belt of the tare. Exchange hands and bring it back to the front, tighten its security under the central large tare, and tie in a ribbon. The ribbon-tied tare should be pushed under the small tare to the side so as not to come out. Next, hold the do with both hands and place it on the stomach. Cross the upper right string over the back. Bring it over to the left shoulder and tie it to the left hand mune chikawa. Similarly, tie the upper left swing over to the right shoulder and onto the right hand mune chikawa. And finally, tie the bottom string around the back in a ribbon. If this is tied in a knot, it can easily come undone, so the ribbon tie should always be used. There are 2 common ways of tying the string to the mune chikawa. Firstly, threading the entire string through the chikawa. and secondly, threading only part of the string. The height of the do should be such that, when standing, about half of the abdominal belt of the tare is visible. Three ways of putting on the tenugui will be shown. Hold the bottom edge of the tenugui and place it against your forehead, then while tucking up your hair, move it so the edge of the tenugui meets your forehead. Next, pull the tenugui with your right hand and change the hands in front of you, then take it up to point just above your left ear. Take the other edge in the same way to a point just above your right ear. Pick up the triangular part in front of your face, then fold the corner back so it sticks to your head. Your ears should be showing at the end. Take the top edge of the tenugui, hold the middle of the bottom half between your teeth, and slide it to the back of the head. Roll up the left-hand side, then the right-hand side, then fasten both sides over the forehead. Hold it down so it doesn't come loose, pull and fold the top part forward, then tuck up the front part. With this method, the ears do not show. Spread out the tenugui and fold it in half vertically. Fold it back diagonally from the side and flip it over, matching the width of their head. Tuck the upper folded part into the double layered part and put it on with the thicker side facing forward. With this method, the ears are again hidden. This method is suitable for small children or beginners. It is easy to do, but it should be remembered that ultimately it is informal and one of the other two techniques should be mastered. Two methods will be shown with two different ways of putting on the chikawa. For the first, the chikawa is brought from above. Place your chin firmly in the men. Bring the string round behind the head, cross them, bring them back to the front and cross them by the chin. Take the string again to the back of the head and cross them, then pass the string through the very top of the mengane grill. Untwist the strings and tie them in a ribbon at the back of the head, roughly level with the eyes. To finish, pull the men buton and leave a slight gap around the ears. With this method, it is best to use a men's string size of 8 feet. The string should be tied neatly without twists or overlaps. The loop and the remaining strings should be about the same length, except the remaining string is about a tassel longer. In this method, the chikawa is brought from below. Before putting the men on, the string should be crossed through the back, and then pass it through the top of the forehead, then take it to the back. Use a finger to hold down the string at the back so it does not come loose, then put on the men. Place your face firmly onto the inside, tie a ribbon at the back, then untwist the strings. For this method, it is recommended to purchase strings of size 7 feet. The left kote is put on first. Hold the tsu part to put it on, and similarly, put the right. When taking them off, start with the right. Similarly, take off the left by holding the tsu part carefully. Find the knot behind the head and untie it. It is incorrect to pull it off with the bow still fastened. Gather the string in front of your face, and then take off the men. Before placing the men on the floor, take the tenugui off your head and place it in the men. Place the men on top of the kote. Refold the tenugui and place it in the men. The mengane should never hit the floor. First undo the bottom string of the do, then the string on the right, then left chest, and remove the do and place it beside you. Raise the large tare part and undo the belt. Place the tare as shown in the screen. Make a knot of about 1.5 times the size of the width of the tare belt. Fold it back at about 45 degrees and fold it in. Put it back in the knot of the abdominal belt. Roll it once and fold it back into the knot, and put the belt around the knot. Tuck the belt around again, and finally fold it back into the knot so there are no edges sticking out. Do the same with the other side. Put the tare down with the abdominal belt facing forward and put the do on top. Lift the tare and do together as shown on the screen. Then make a cross on the center of the tare and bring it back to the inside of the do. Then tie in a ribbon. The lowest string of the do should be pulled and wrapped from the top to bottom, wrapped round so as to hold down the edge of the abdominal belt, then fastened so as to slightly wrap around the upper edge of the do. Do the same with the other side. Finally, put the men and kote inside. Also, there are several ways, including wrapping it around the large tare on the side, or wrapping it around the center large tare. Or reversing it and wrapping it onto the small tare as shown. Place it on the floor with the front facing up. Fold back the right sleeve, then the left sleeve. Then fold both body regions. Slightly fold the hem and fold in half to finish. Place it on the floor facing backwards. Put your hand inside and press the growing area so that it comes to the right. Straighten the back pleat. Then flip it round whilst pulling the top and bottom. Straighten the 5 pleats at the front. Fold both sides and fold it in 3. There is also a method whereby you slightly fold back the hem as shown on the screen. Here, the back stays folded inwards, but there is also a way of arranging the hakama belt without folding it. When dealing with the hakama belt, firstly, fold both front strings in 4 and cross them. Then loop the short back belt around away from you. Wrap the left hand belt onto the belt on the left, and right hand belt onto the right. Then put it out on top. Finally, wrap the remaining belt portions around the diagonal belt. The hakama should be folded about the same size as the kendogi. In choosing your bamboo, you should find the right weight and balance which fits you. By buying a number of the same gnarl type in bulk, it makes it easier to fix the shinai when broken. Other points are to choose the one which are as straight and square as possible at the end and which are evenly packed. Some things which can be difficult to check in the shop, such as wormholes, crack and splinters, should be checked for immediately after leaving the shop. First, remove the string which wraps the bamboo and insert a tsukagawa. When buying a tsukagawa, it is important to bear in mind that, aside from differences in length, there are also variation in thickness, so it is advised to buy the one which suits the shinai length and that of your arm. If the tsukagawa is loose, It may spin around during use, so it is useful to buy one which is slightly tight. If it is difficult to put in the shinai, it may be easier to use rubber gloves. Next, spread the end and file down the corners. Put some oil on the file part. If too much oil is used, there is a possibility that some will come off onto an opponent's equipment, so it is important that you wipe it. On the screen, the assembly is being carried out in a dojo, and in such cases, do not forget to make preparations so that you do not dirty the dojo with bamboo shavings or oil spillages. Next, attach the tsuru to the sakigawa. Make the hole bigger with a bokken, then thread in the tsuru. Here it is useful to wrap the tsuru onto the upper side of the shinai. To secure it, a technique known as moyai musubi is used. Make a loop around the longer tsuru, pass the shorter one through it, under the longer one, back to the top and through the loop. This may not come easy at first, but please watch it on the screen repeatedly to master it. It is also possible to use a small piece of leather instead of a loop. Next, pass the nakayui through the tsuru. Then attach the rubber tip to the end of the shinai. The rubber tips come in a variety of sizes, but it must be bought to fit the end of the shinai. Once the rubber tip has been attached, the sakigawa should be put on. And at the root of the tsukagawa, a loop should be passed through the leather string of the tsuka wrapped round into a loop and pull down onto the root of the tsuka. Wrap it clockwise round the root of the leather string, pulling it tightly. Tuck it under whilst not letting the tsuru loosen, and roll around anti-clockwise. Finally, tuck it around the wrapping tsuru, then around the vertical tsuru, and fasten it so it does not loosen. Any remaining tsuru should be cut off. To finish, fasten the nakayui. Wrap it round 3 times about a quarter of the way up the shinai, pass it under the tsuru and then cross it and put it from bottom right to top left. Push it through the nakayui and then from top right to bottom left, thus wrapping it round 3 times and having fastened it tightly, cut off any remaining nakayui. The following is a non-restricting list of the most basic equipments which you will need for assembling and repairing your shinai. A shinai file, a normal file, bodkin, scissors, pliers, shinai oil, and a cloth. If a splinter appears on the shinai, spread out the shinai and remove the splinter. Then with a shinai file or cutter, file down the shinai from bottom to top. The dojo, and splinters and shavings can cause injury. File it down using a thin file of grade 100 to 150. Carefully, use your fingers to check the smoothness of the shinai to make sure that the splinter is gone. The filed bamboo sticks should be oiled and then wiped. If the bamboo has been split or fractured, then this cannot be repaired. Such pieces should be removed and replaced. The natural posture is the standing position from which you can freely move in any direction. Do not strain yourself excessively. Your center of gravity should be concentrated in the center of your body, down into the middle of the space between your feet, and the back should be stretched out naturally. The chin should be slightly pulled in, but the muscles of the neck and shoulders should remain relaxed. The arms should rest naturally at the side of the body. This natural standing position is the basis of the kamae. Even this basic standing posture should be learned to exude dignity and grace. There are two types of standing bow used in modern kendo. The first is mokure, literally eye salutation, used to bow to the opponent, and the second is the re, used to bow to a superior. With the mokure, the back and head should remain still, and the bow comes from the waist. You must not lose eye contact with the opponent, but the chin must not stick out either. Stop at about 15 degrees, remain stationary for a moment, and turn to the original posture. The re is a bow of about 30 degrees. Keep the back and head still and bow with a slight exhalation, so that the chest protrudes a bit. Stop momentarily at 30 degrees and return to the original posture. Let us see the same movements from the side. First, mokure. Then, re. It is important to learn the shapes of these bows, but also just as vital to do them with feeling, servility at the beginning of the practice, and gratitude at the end. When entering the dojo, it is customary to perform the re. This is a standing and sitting motion in 3 movements. To sit down, change your grip from sageto to taito. And drawing your left foot and put the left knee on the floor on 1. On 2, put your right knee also on the floor. On 3, put the toes of both feet flat. The shinai should then be carefully placed on the floor from the sword tip with the tsuru facing outward, and the guard parallel to the line of the knee, so that it cannot move. To stand up, hold the shinai in the taito position. On 1, go to the genuflect position by vertically straightening the toes. On 2, take half a step forward with the right foot. And on 3, step out with the left foot so it meets the right and stand up. Let's zoom in on the feet and recap. On 1, drawing your left foot and put the left knee on the floor. On 2, put your right knee also on the floor. At this stage, the toes should still be standing vertically. On 3, lower your waist to sit down. To stand, straighten the toes on 1, and stand up from the right on 2. And the left on 3. To sit or stand in motion, the previous 3 motions are carried out in one breath. Here, the method shown involves arranging the hems of the hakama before sitting down and moving the shinai from the left to right side before placing it. To stand, do the above motions in reverse. With the kneecaps facing, sit down in the natural posture. There should be a gap of 1 to 2 fist lengths between the knees, and the fingers of both hands should be intertwined and face inwards, with the palms resting naturally on the inner thigh. Stretch out the feet and place your backside on the heels. The tips of the feet should be placed parallel or with the big toes folded over each other. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth with deep breaths. This should be done so that the people sitting on either side of you do not have to hear you breathing. From the formal sitting position, bow gradually forward as if resting the abdomen on the thighs. Following that, slide naturally onto the thighs and land on the floor from the fingertips. Put the thumbs and the index fingers on both hands together, and lower the head, aiming the nose towards the center of the resulting triangle. Do not raise your backside. Take a breath in this position and come back up. When lowering the upper body, breathe out and breathe in when raising it again. At the beginning and the end of the sitting bow, it is important to keep eye contact with the person you are bowing to. It is customary to carry out mokso, meditation, at the beginning and end of every practice. In the formal sitting position, close your eyes gently and put your left hand on your right hand. Put your thumbs together gently to form a circle and draw them into the bottom of the abdomen. The eyes should be partially closed so you can see 2 to 3 meters in front of you. Breathe in through the nose and deeply exhale through the mouth. This should be done so that the people sitting on either sides of you do not have to hear your breathing. You will probably not be able to achieve the plane of pure spiritual existence in a short time, so wish to contemplate your aims at the beginning of the practice and reflections at the end of it. At the command of Yame, quietly open your eyes and place your hands back in the position of the formal sitting stance. The toes of both feet should be facing forward, with the feet spreading slightly narrower than the span of your shoulders. The toes of the left foot should level with the heel of the right foot. To achieve the basic foot position, stand with the heels of both feet together, then open up by 90 degrees around the left heel, and open another 90 degrees with around the index toe of your left foot. The right heel should be raised by the breadth of a sheet of paper, while the left heel should be raised by about 30 degrees. Do not bend your ankles so that the heels comes too high. The knees should be neither bent nor stretched to maintain tension. To correctly hold the shinai whilst in chudan posture, hold the hands together in front of the abdomen with the fingertips forward. Then move the right hand forward and the left hand in front of you and grip lightly with the palms. The palms of both hands should be facing inwards. The chudan is the basic posture for attack and defense. The left hand should grip the entire tsukagashira. The right hand should grip the tsubamoto from above. Grip tightly with the middle, ring and little fingers, and use the thumbs and index fingers as gentle support. The tsukagashira should be positioned about 1 fist length from the body. It should not touch the body, but if it is held too far out of your balance, will be compromised. The elbows should not extend too far out in either dimensions or tuck in too close to the body. If the shoulder is raised, The arms will be tense, so relax the shoulders and hold out your chest. The point of observation is known as enzan no metsuke and involves concentrating on the opponent's eye whilst maintaining observation of the head region and the rest of the body. Focusing on the part you want to hit or moving your eyes when striking will lead to your opponents guessing your move, so be aware of this. The shinai should be angled at the height roughly level with your neck. Facing an opponent, the shinai will be held straight in the vertical plane which lies between the eyes. With fast-moving youngsters, it is common to see the shinai angled slightly lower. For sageto, hold the shinai with the left hand with the tsuru facing down, then perform the mokure. Draw in the shinai to the left waist for the taito position, and on 1 place your thumb on the tsuka while taking a step forward with the right foot. On 2, take out the shinai from above with your right hand whilst holding the tsukagashira with the left hand and sonkyo. And on 3, stand up and straighten the left foot for the chudan posture. For osame, sonkyo on 1 with the left heel. 2, let go with the left hand and spin the shinai from above with just the right hand and with the tsuru facing down. Stand up in the taito position. 3, take a step back with the left foot. Go into the sageto position and mokure. Perform the above 3 motions for kamae and osame in quick succession, so they merge into one motion. Perform mokure in sageto position, then taito position. Sonkyo could be carried out in the right-sided natural posture and open up the knees about 90 degrees. Practice this thoroughly with a mind to the speed which the procedures are carried out in order to acquire dignity in the motions. If a judge's discussion is required during a match, the kamae and osame perform the mokure, then taito posture. Then take a step forward with the right foot while placing a hand on the tsuka. Remove the shinai from above and assume the chudan stance. For osame, keep the feet position and put away the shinai. Assume the taito posture. Draw back your right foot, take up the sageto position and mokure. When in the resting position, open at the sword tip to the right and draw back the right foot so it's immediately beside the left. When order of kamae, smoothly put your right foot forward and assume the chudan posture. The most basic movement in kendo is the sliding movement in short range. The method of practicing this is known as body movement. The shoulders and waist should move in parallel with the opponent. When moving forward, the left foot should act as the pivot foot and push on the floor, the force of which will push out the right moving foot. The main points are 1. Not to lose your posture. 2. Not to move the sword tip. In short range attacking footwork, the movement is small, but it is important to take large step in preparations for practicing stomp as you step in footwork. If the toes are raised like this, you will land from the heel, which can be dangerous and incorrect, so please be careful. Repeat the steps of body movement, 2 at a time for 8 counts. The movement is faster than body movement, and it is important not to lose your posture or let the sword tip move. Be aware that if the shina is grasped too tightly with the right hand, the sword tip will tend to move. For this type of footwork, the body is moved diagonally forward to the left and right in opposition to the opponent. When moving diagonally forward to the left foot should be forward and the right foot back, and so it is difficult to maintain balance. The right heel is raised in this case. Spinning after placing your foot in this way is incorrect. After exchanging sides with an opponent, the speed and composure with which you turn back around becomes a crucial point. As a result, in basic practice procedures, the more frequently used left-sided turn is carried out. Raise the shinai on 1, turn using the right foot as a pivot on 2, and return to the basic posture on 3. The same movement is also practiced as one move raise, turn and lower. It is incorrect to turn with the heel. Turn with a kick. Or reposition your feet after turning. And you must not loosen your grip. The practice routine whereby short-range steps are carried out repeatedly is generically known as sliding steps. This differs from body movement in that small steps are taken quickly. When moving forward the left foot, and when moving backward the right foot should push down the floor. It is important both that you do not break the chudan posture and that you are not too tense when performing this maneuver. It is incorrect to raise your toe and land on the heel. Let the left foot overtake the right foot. Move with your legs spread apart. Let the sword tip move unnecessarily. Or drag the right foot when moving back. When moving back, it is useful to use your right foot as if hopping backwards. This is a practice routine for the sliding step as used in actual fight situations. It involves turning from forward to back and back to forward and doing the sliding step to the left and right. It is important that the chudan posture is not broken at any time. For sideway movement, the basic footwork techniques should not be broken by putting your feet together or letting one overtake the other. When turning from forward to back, the right foot should be used as a pivot to turn to the left, And when turning from back to front, the left foot should be used to turn to the left. Practice this to turn without losing your balance. The walking step is performed by doing the sliding step forward and backward. Not raising the toes and keeping the sword tip still are both important. Be aware that if the pelvis is moved as in normal walking, your stance will sway sideways, which is incorrect. The technique how the toes of the right foot move forward like an inchworm is known as measuring step. The technique where the right foot remains stationary while the left foot moves forward to come level with it is known as joint step. These are fighting methods used to close down on an opponent unnoticed. As shown here, it is possible to use the measuring step to advance the right foot, then use the short step to close the distance in this way. This is an essential technique in modern kendo. Beginners practice this maneuver without a sword, using just the feet. The force created by pressing down strongly on the floor with the left foot is used to advance the right foot and stomp on the floor. The right foot should be lifted off the ground as little as possible, and the base of the foot and the floor should remain parallel as much as possible, so that the knee is used to advance. After the right foot has landed, the upper muscle of the right knee should be used to pull the left foot forward. It is incorrect to fall forward. Let the upper body thrust forward by not controlling the waist. Kick out with the left foot. Raise the toes. Or let the left foot overtake the right after landing. This stomping footwork within the sliding step. Here only one stomp is carried out, but when practicing, it is useful to learn to cover longer distance with 2 or 3 stomps in successions. It is incorrect to put the left foot forward before carrying out the stomp, or take a large step before the stomp to make the timing easier. This technique should be practiced so the stomp is carried out within the natural flow of the slide step. To raise the shinai, the arm position of the chudan posture should be changed as little as possible, and the raising movement should concentrate on the left arm, while it is the back that is pulled upwards. The left fist should finish directly above the head, with the shinai pointing behind you at the angle of 45 degrees. It is vital that this action can be performed smoothly and straight, so you should use a mirror to practice this movement repeatedly until the shape is mastered. Raising the shinai with an overly extended left arm is a superfluous motion, as it only means that the basic posture has been further deviated from. In addition, if the left grip loosens on raising, the sword tip is liable to fall. while if the right hand is used in raising, it will veer too far to the right. These are points to be avoided. For the Kukan Datotsu in 3 movements, raise the shinai without breaking the basic posture on 1. On 2, push down the floor with the left foot and simultaneously swing down. And on 3, return to the Chudan stance while taking 1 step back. For men, swing down so that the right arm comes to shoulder height and the left fist comes to the pit of the stomach. The movement should be performed using the shoulder, elbow, and wrist joints in a flexible and supple manner. For kote, swing down until the shinai is parallel to the floor. The right elbow should be extended fully. For do, turn the wrist while the shinai is raised above the head. Then slide the left fist up to the right when swinging down and strike. The sword tip should be slightly to the left and not directly in front at the end of the swing. For tsuki, do not raise the shinai. On 1, push out the right foot with the left foot when the right foot lands. Simultaneously extend the arms forward. The right hand should be roughly in front of the pit of the stomach. So take care not to extend the arms fully. On 2, pull the hands back, and on 3, return to the Chudan stance while taking a step back. Before starting to perform these maneuvers in fighting situations, it is important to thoroughly learn the moves with an imaginary opponent. The 2 motion strikes involves condensing the 1 and 2 movements of the 3 motion strike into 1 smooth movement. Do not put too much strength into the raising of the shinai, lifting it smoothly and striking swiftly and sharply. The key points here is to draw the left foot forward. At the moment of striking, pull the left foot forward using the upper muscle of the right knee. I call this movement pattern the Nijichoyaku, and it is an important striking maneuver. The 3 motions are condensed into 1. As with the same move in 2 motions, the raising of the shinai should not be tense but smooth, and the strike should be swiftly and sharply. It is important to make sure that the most power is concentrated in the tip of the shinai by stretching out the wrist and aiming to hit far away from you. For the do strike, be careful not to let your hands stick together when raising the sword. And for tsuki, make sure the hands come back into position before the body. The left and right men strikes in 1 and 3 motions are introductory lessons for progressions to the kirikaeshi. Raise the shinai straight above your head and kirikaeshi the wrists. Then strike first left, then right of the men. When you're facing your opponent, your right hand side is hidari, left men, and left side is migi, right men. When performing this maneuver, the left fist should not stray too far from the vertical plane. The kote-men combination strikes involves the one-motion kote, and men strikes being carried out swiftly in succession. The important point of combination strikes is the drawing of the left foot and the relaxing of the muscles between strikes. Drawing the left foot in at the moment of striking enables the correct posture to be assumed for the following strike. In addition, if the arms are not relaxed immediately after the first strike, the raising of the shinai will be a walkward, so this is something to bear in mind. This is the combination strike of kote-do. When raising the shinai after the kote strike, it is important not to let the left hand slide up to the right hand. Move the left hand when swinging down. Flick the wrist and strike the do. When returning to your original stance, swiftly return the left hand and assume the correct chudan posture. This is the combination strike of kote-men-do. After the strike, it is possible to take 3 short-range steps back, but here the walking step is used. Move back to your original position smoothly, like a wave retreating from the shore. The repetitive men strikes are carried out with the 3 as you advance and 3 as you retreat, so 6 in total. To finish, take a small half step back to return to the chudan posture and zanshin. It is especially difficult to harmonize the timing of the hands and feet on the retreat strikes. It is important to learn to start to step back at the summit of the raising action and draw the right foot back at the end of the strike. Here as well, it is important to relax the arms after each and every strike. In this technique, the same movements for the repetitive men strikes are used to strike the left and right sides of the men. It is an important introductory lesson for the kirikaeshi. The important points here are kirikaeshi of the wrist and the positioning of the left hand when striking. The up and down swing is the most basic of suburi. Raising the shinai high above the head, swing down gently using the shoulder joints, so that the tip of the shinai ends up just below knee-high. With a back grip, it is impossible to swing correctly to the knees whilst maintaining the correct posture. It should be carried out without relying on strength, as if smoothly splitting the air in front of you with a razor blade. The diagonal suburi is performed similarly to the joge suburi, but with a kirikaeshi of the wrist above the head to enable a diagonal swinging motion. On the screen, the maneuver is carried out with the sword tip returning to the vertical plane above the feet and then raising the shinai again vertically. There is also another shape whereby the vertical is crossed at the level of the belly button and the shinai is swung in the shape of an X. The men strike with a step forward involves the one-motion central men strike being carried out repeatedly in quick succession. It is important to concentrate on the sword tip and swing fully for each and every strike. It is also important to make a habit of returning to the correct chudan posture after the suburi is completed. The man strike with steps forward and backward technique involves combining a retreating strike into the man strike with a step forward. The forward and backward movements should endeavor to be as large as possible without losing a good sense of balance. The left and right men strikes with steps forward and backward involve striking the left men whilst advancing and the right when retreating. For the raising of the shinai, you can either do as shown on the screen, following the path of the left and right men strikes, or follow the vertical plane and raise it straight. There is also a technique whereby the left and right men strikes are carried out whilst taking 2 steps at a time, called Nihogata 2-step type. This is a suburi where the body is moved from side to side by taking sideways steps. When moving left and striking the right men, the left foot should forward. It is easy to lose your balance, so be careful. If the shinai is raised at the same time as stepping outward, your balance will be compromised and the swing will also be affected. Also, keep in mind that moving backwards when carrying out the sideways step is incorrect. This is a suburi where you spread your legs out wide sideways and swing so that the power is dropped into the lower regions of the abdomen. It is also sometimes called kabutowari. It is said that with this technique, it is possible to nurture courage and spiritual energy. Step forward with alternating feet and drop the knees firmly for this suburi. It is important to tense the back and abdomen so that your posture does not incline forward. It is also useful for developing your leg muscles and balance. This type of suburi involves jumping and interchanging the feet while swinging. Raise the shinai with the left foot forward and strike with the right foot forward. Compared to the previous suburi, this is rather in fast rhythm, but it's important to swing fully, right up to the sword tip. For this suburi, the feet are together when raising the shinai, and when striking, the positioning of the feet changes from right foot forward to left foot forward to feet spread apart. Practicing this will develop your balance and coordination. This is a jumping suburi where the feet must land in the order of right, then left when advancing, and left then right when retreating. This suburi is known generally as hayasuburi, fast suburi. It is incorrect to jump with both feet at once. Move backwards and forwards with just the right foot, or land with the left foot raised. At first, if this is difficult, try practicing without a shinai, just using the feet. This is a kukan datotsu, using a stomping footwork. From a firm kamae, call out loudly, and then gently raise the shinai and strike sharply. The men and kote strikes differ slightly in footwork. For men, push down on the floor for a long time with the left foot. But for kote, push down swiftly and sharply and draw the left foot quickly. This is a repetitive kukan datotsu, using stomping footwork. Make sure the shinai is raised fully and swung down fully right up to the sword tip. Beware that if the drawing in of the left foot is done badly, your balance will be affected. It is incorrect to let the left foot overtake the right after the right foot has landed. When you have acquired a good repertoire of kukan datotsu, it is time to begin striking in real situations. Practice the men, kote, do, and left and right men strikes in one motion facing your opponent. As with the kukan datotsu, use your palms to control the shinai at the moment of striking, and do not swing through. The order of strikes is men, kote, do, left men, right men. Both with attacking and defending, control your emotions to ensure no injuries are caused. Now, these are striking maneuvers using the stomping footwork. After striking, retreat with sliding steps, not to lose your posture. For the do strike, momentarily loosen the grip of the left hand when changing sides. But after positions have been exchanged, return the sword tip in front of you to the zanshin posture. When practicing combination strikes, you will be faced by several defenders. It is important to learn to strike with a fully raised shinai for each and every strike. Yeah!